Is it worth building Cecia? A lot of people ask this question because if you didn't know, everyone starts out with Cecia. Well, the short answer is yes, you most definitely should build Cecia. It gets a bit more complicated than that to make her work perfectly well. Her team comp is extremely important to get the most out of her, and we will be looking at that in this video and also until where it is worth getting dupes for Cecia to make her stronger. Cecia will be good throughout the whole game, and it is quite rare for a gacha game to give you a really strong character like this for free from the start of the game. But before we start, make sure to hit that like button if you find this video useful. I would really appreciate it. So right now I have two accounts, both with Cecia builded. One is a high level Cecia but only Mythic in endgame, and another is mid game with a Supreme Cecia. They are both carrying my team really hard, but she can't do it alone. Cecia's ult is what makes her shine, but it is extremely important to have good positioning, a good front line with her to keep her alive, and even more importantly, there is a really good support that works wonders with her. Rowan. Rowan increases everyone's energy around him, which means faster ult charging, and Cecia's ult is extremely powerful, so having Rowan close to her makes her way stronger. I highly recommend you to get Rowan, and even getting Rowan to Legendary Plus will increase his haste, which will allow him to ult even faster, meaning faster ult for all your other characters. This is also really good in PvP to ult before the enemy does. But what makes Cecia's ult so good is that she summons a monster that fights for you, so that is plus one extra teammate that fights for you, and this also deals AoE damage and roots them when the summon happens. It is really good countering specific enemies that needs to be crowd controlled, and also in situations where you need AoE damage like crystal defenses. And if the summon dies, she can just use her ult again and summon until she dies. So that gets us back to her needing a really good frontline to keep her alive. Now there is a lot of great tanks, and honestly most of them works with her, and it gets down to what you are dealing with, which tank would be best in that specific situation. I personally really like using Lucius with her, because Lucius can shield the summon, and this will allow Cecia's summon to last longer, as the summon loses HP over time, and Lucius's shields will allow her ult to be up most of the time. But I see Lucius more like an off-tank shielding and helping with sustain, while having a good main tank besides him. For the main tank I personally use Foron, because he revives after dying, making him really good for a frontliner. And he is also a Graveborn, so it is easier to get the Graveborn buff for him and Cecia. You can also use a Lightborn with this team comp for your open slot if you use Lucius and Rowan like me, so you have a lot of flexibility with this team comp, and that makes it harder to hit walls unless you need to AFK for more levels. One thing that counters Cecia even with a frontline are rogues. They will target her since she's in the backline, but rest assured there is a big counter to this. If you use two tanks like I do, I will just put one tank behind her and the rogue will focus the tank behind Cecia instead. This helps in a lot of situations, so make sure you know about this one. After picking two tanks and Rowan with Cecia, you still have one slot open, but I usually see this as the situational slot. I will use whatever works best with this team to counter the enemy. Be it a healer, buffer or a damage dealer, it comes down to what you need for the situation at hand and your preferences. So where should you stop investing into Cecia? When you get Cecia to Mythic Plus, she will cast a new skill that will entangle the closest enemy to her every 15 seconds, stealing their physical and magic defense, and giving it not only to Cecia, but also her summon. And she will also unlock her weapon at Mythic Plus. Once you enhance this weapon to +5, she will also steal Vitality, which increases shields received and self-heals. This makes Lucius an even better combo with her, and when she reaches level 131 her summon unlocks Life Drain to make this even better. So I really recommend getting her to Mythic Plus, especially for the Entangle, and she will also unlock her weapon. Unlocking the weapon will also increase her stats by a bit. I do not recommend getting her to Supreme Plus from the start unless you're lucky with getting dupes without pity, like I did with my global account. Or if you spend money, I can't see the reason not to do it, but if you want to know the reason why I don't recommend investing all the way to Supreme Plus, make sure to check out this video preparing you for the endgame, which is something you have to prepare for before it is too late.